really mean business today since we last spoke. China threw the world's largest anti-West party and invited the whole squad. Donald Trump is in fact alive, and he said that he didn't even know that people thought he was dead. The president of Venezuela just said he would arm every person in the country if the USA attacked. The Rock is changing his name to The Pebble after he lost all this weight. And Druski just pulled off one of the craziest white-face skits we've seen in years. All of that, and there's so many more stories we're covering today. So remember to like and subscribe before we start. And now we'll stop the yapping and we will get cracking! Told you. Business today. Okay, I think it is only right to start today off with the biggest story. Lots of things made history today, and it's also potentially, you could argue, a new world order emerging. Because guys, feast your eyes on this. You know what that is? That is the world's first picture of Kim Jong Un, Putin, and Xi Jinping all together. That is probably going to be one of the pictures of 2025 that we look back on. I'm telling you, I do a roundup every year. This is significant. And the reason they had a little squad rollout is because today, China put on the largest military parade in their history. All major roads were closed, schools were shut down, and they even had weeks of midnight rehearsals and security preparations to make sure that today went off without a hitch. If even one soldier made a wrong leg movement in their perfect get them out. Now, when the event started to begin, one by one, world leaders started arriving, and it's all the names that you would expect. Kim Jong Un, Vladimir Putin, etc. In fact, Kim's always going to be different. Bro, it took him 20 plus hours just to get to China. Remember, they are super close, but it's because unlike all of the other world leaders who got a plane, he took his infamous slow armored bulletproof train that only travels about 45 to 80 kilometers per hour. But either way, he's there. That's the point, isn't it? Now, here's where things get a little bit spicy because there are some world leaders that attended, which in recent decades, they lent a bit more to the West. I'm talking Turkey, Egypt, Vietnam. In fact, there were no Western leaders at this event. None of them. They all refused to attend apart from two. We're looking at you, Serbia and Slovakia. In fact, Slovakia, or is it Serbia, is a NATO member. Alex, which one is it? That's the one. Betrayal of the highest order. Oh, and when Trump saw that Putin, Xi, and Kim had a 2.5-hour closed-door private meeting to discuss who knows what, he tweeted this. May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great lasting day of celebration. Please give my warmest regards to Putin and Kim Jong Un as you conspire against the United States of America. And here's the thing, it wasn't just what they spoke about, which would be of concern to the Western leaders watching. It'll also be the new weapons that China unveiled. These included new laser power weapons capable of taking out swarms of drones, burning electronics, or even blinding pilots. They unveiled new nuclear ballistic missiles with the range capable of striking even US mainland. We got giant underwater manned drones and also a number of weapons which really shows China's heavy investment into the future of warfare, which is changing a lot now. These included drones, smart tanks, AI-assisted weaponry, and of course, robot dogs. They're kind of like the poster boy of new age of war. In fact, it's not even just us talking about it. All of Chinese social media, the top searches were about the parade and the weapons, including the fourth one talking about their new ICBMs having the strike range that covers the entire world. But for Xi Jinping, what means more than just showing off new weaponry is showing off a new world order. One that challenges the West and their allies, and one where China is positioned right at the center. I mean, if that picture is symbolic, right at the center. In fact, in his speech overlooking the military parade, he said the rise of the Chinese nation is unstoppable. Strength may prevail for a time, but over the long arc of history, it is reason that wins. So, I mean, seeing all of this, what do you guys think? Is it Trump's foreign policy that is pushing these kind of countries together to strengthen their relationships so that they're united against America? Or was what we saw today somewhat inevitable, no matter who was in office? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, but moving on. Oh, speaking about Trump, yeah, he's alive. So yesterday, the president made his first public address in, I think, about a week. And he looked fine. I mean, he looked alive, and I guess he looked fine. So I imagine this would put to bed the whirlwind of rumors that he was unwell or dead. I mean, I say should because I guarantee some people are going to be like, pre-recorded, that's a body double. There'll be some, I promise. Now, leading up to this live stream from the White House, they said, big announcement coming at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And obviously, because of the death rumors, everyone, millions of people tuned into this. And then what they announced wasn't that crazy. Basically, they said that Space Force is moving from Colorado to Alabama. And what ended up overshadowing that announcement was when he was asked this question.
How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see it for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that.
Now, what do you think about that? I feel when I first watched that, it felt like he tried to play it off a bit like nonchalant, like, oh, no, didn't know it, don't know what you're talking about. And I feel like that's a little bit hard to believe because we all know that Trump stays locked in to the news and what people are talking about. And then even later in his response, he says this.
No, I heard that. I get reports. I knew they were saying, like, is he okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong? I had heard that, but I didn't hear it to that extent. Go ahead, Peter.
So he knows that people were talking about him and saying, oh, maybe he's unwell and stuff, but he doesn't know that people thought he was dead. Like, those two, for us observing on the internet, they were like the same thing. They weren't really separate. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't really matter, does it? He is alive. He says he was very active over the weekend, and I guess now it's just business as usual. But what do you guys think? Does this put all of the rumors to bed once and for all? Or is there still something sus that we're missing? Let me know in the comments. Moving on. Also, since we last spoke, we may have witnessed probably one of the wildest skits of the year so far, because what you are looking at is Druski. And he is dressed up, face paint and all, as a white Southern American at NASCAR. And people on Twitter are saying this is the most impressive white face they've ever seen. And Alex, before we speak about it, roll the clip.
Hey, Suanna! Go ahead, baby. Proud to be American.
I mean, to be fair, just the makeup alone for this would have taken hours. Think about the detail that he's put into the tattoos alone. They even gave him freaking sunburn. Wild. Now, Druski did this skit or prank, I don't even know what you would describe it as, at NASCAR. And so he walked around, he mingled with the white people, he spat at I think it was 2 black people. And he even acted as a racist to one of them.
Hey, you lost, boy?
No, I'm going to the race.
What race?
NASCAR race.
You going to NASCAR?
Yes, sir. A little bit.
You ain't lost, is you?
No, I'm good. I'm going to the race, sir.
Sure about that?
Yes, sir.
Find something safe to do, boy.
Oh, and when I saw that, I was like, geez, I hope they went to him after and was like, yo, this is a prank, because probably would have ruined a day. Now, of course, because this skit was centered around race and skin color, as you'd expect, this definitely caught some heat online, with people saying like, oh, it's okay to joke about American white culture, but if it was the other way around, then suddenly you could get canceled for it. So yeah, of course, there's that side of it, but honestly, mostly from what I've seen, it has been taken pretty well and just been thought of as funny. And also, it's probably worth noting that this isn't the first time Druski has done whiteface. I guess we'll just call it whiteface. Because a couple of months ago, as you see in this clip, he pretended to be a white person integrating himself into the hood. And that was pretty much the same sort of vibe as this. Only this time, I think it was taken to a whole nother level. But what do you guys think? Do you find it funny? Do you not find it funny? Let me know in the comments. Moving on. Also, since we last spoke, we've got an official statement and apology from the CEO, the tennis, you know. If you don't know the situation, go watch the last video. And also, as I mentioned in that video, there were some statements floating around that weren't true. Well, it turns out they weren't true because now this is the actual verified real one. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It is super long, but he basically apologizes. He says, "I would like to unequivocally apologize to the young boy, his family, all the fans, and the player himself. I take full responsibility for my extremely poor judgment and hurtful actions, and that for years he and his wife have been involved in supporting children and young athletes. But this moment shows him that a moment of inattention can do on years of work and support. It is a painful but necessary lesson in humility." Now, he has turned off all the comments on the post.
Coward.
Because there is one thing that the internet will absolutely not allow you to do, which is apologize and then say, you know what, it's okay. Because yes, while we can't read the comments, on Facebook you can obviously react with emojis. And so there's 1,500 laughing faces, another almost 1,000 angry faces, and then just 200 thumbs up. So I'm not too sure if it was apology accepted, but it is what it is. Here's the thing. The internet will forget. But what do you guys think? Will the internet just move on, or will this be forever ingrained? Yet another CEO put on the wall of CEOs. Moving on. Okay, also since we last spoke, the situation between the US and Venezuela has escalated significantly because last night, the president of Venezuela said that if they were attacked by those recently deployed US forces, he would declare a republic in arms. You want to know what that is? That is a call for every citizen of a country, not just the military, to take up arms and defend the country. Alex, what is the population of Venezuela? It's something in the 20, 30 million? Maybe if it's more, I'll be shocked. So, how the hell did we get here? Well, earlier this month, Trump put a $50 million bounty on the arrest of Nicolas Maduro. Now, for context, that is so massive, it actually is the most amount the United States have ever put on anyone before. Even Osama bin Laden, for him, they had like 25 million. So this is double that. And then a couple of weeks later, they took it a step further and Trump deployed 8 warships, including a guided missile destroyer, an amphibious assault ship, a nuclear-powered submarine, all to the waters of Venezuela. And on board those ships, we had 4,500 US military personnel. And you want to know what the president of Venezuela did in response? He called up 4.5, not thousand like the US, 4.5 million fighters, militia fighters nationwide. And then on top of that, he called a republic in arms. He said he would constitutionally declare it in the event of an attack. So yeah, that's kind of the whole situation with them, but it gets crazier. Because despite the US saying that there are no operations planned on Venezuelan soil, and most experts suspecting that this is just more of a show of force than an actual, plan to frickin' invade. Well, just moments ago, Trump announced that the US have carried out a strike against a vessel from Venezuela, which was believed to be carrying drugs. Pretty crazy, huh? Now, the boat was reportedly in international waters carrying 11 narco-terrorists. I didn't know that was a name. And allegedly, they were part of the Tren de Aragua gang. So, whether this makes the whole situation even more unstable than it already is you've got to wait and see. But as it escalates, I'll keep you guys updated. Fun. Moving on. Okay, also the picture that you see right here, truly, truly disturbing. A TikToker and her family were recently found dead, wrapped up in plastic and dumped in their pickup truck. And along with this TikToker known as Esmeralda was her husband and her 2 children, 7 years old and 13 years old. Wild. What human is capable of doing that? That's the first thought that came through my head. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you remember, but recently another TikToker, Valeria Marquez, she was killed in the same state that Esmeralda was. Jalisco. Not an ideal state, it seems. Now, the family's bodies were found on the 22nd of August inside a van that had been abandoned at a mechanic's shop. Now, the police arrested 3 men, which were described as the managers of this mechanic shop, but they were later released due to insufficient evidence linking them to the crime. But this is where things get crazy. Once those men left the Jalisco prosecutor's office, they too were kidnapped, suggesting that this is most likely linked to cartels. And according to the initial investigation, the attack was not directed at the TikToker, Esmeralda, but rather at her husband. As we know more about this situation, I'll keep you guys updated, but for now, moving on. Also, if any of you guys are playing Ding Dong Ditch, in particular in America, you need to watch out. Because over the weekend, an 11-year-old boy was shot and killed after he rang the doorbell of a house in Houston, Texas. Now, reports say that he and his friends were playing a game of Ding Dong Ditch just at a house down the street from their own homes around 11 p.m. That is when a witness told police that the boy was running away from the house when a person came outside and shot him. He was rushed to hospital, but he was pronounced dead the next day. One of the homicide detectives on this case said that it would more than likely be a murder charge, noting that the boy's death does not appear to involve self-defense because the shooting wasn't even close to the house. But as I was reading about this situation, the scarier part is that this prank, I don't even know what you'd call it, is more deadly than you think. Because just a couple of months ago in May, an 18-year-old high school senior in Virginia was shot and killed when they were filming a ding-dong ditch prank to post on TikTok. And then in 2020, 3 16-year-old teenagers were killed when a man rammed his car into theirs in retaliation for them pulling this prank on him, ringing his doorbell, and he's like, right, bro, what is up with people's anger issues to do that? So yeah, I will repeat, if you are playing Ding Dong Ditch, watch out. Moving on. And then, finally, we need to talk about the Dwayne Johnson situation. Because it looks like we might be about to witness the new era of The Rock. Or shall I say, The Pebble. Because, I mean, you've probably seen it, but he has been going viral this week for this pretty dramatic body transformation, losing a ton of weight or appearing to lose a ton of weight and muscle. And I say seems because, let's be honest, he's wearing a pretty loose t-shirt in this. And so I imagine he probably has a pretty insane sleeper build under there. But then again, yeah, you can even see in his face he has lost weight. So no denying he has lost weight. And he hasn't addressed this new physique change, but a lot of speculation is that this is for the new era of acting that he is stepping into. Because, I mean, since he started at Hollywood 20 odd years ago, he has been juicing, let's be honest, he has, and then getting casted as the action hero, the hero of the story. In fact, I'm pretty sure there was clauses in some of his contracts where he couldn't like lose a fight and things like that. But you know, as he ages, keep in mind, he's 53 now. He can't be playing that role and juicing forever, or he'll end up like freaking Liam Neeson. That brother is like this old man beating up characters half his age. Now, The Rock told reporters at the screening of his new film, The Smashing Machine, that he felt that he was pigeonholed and pushed into a corner by Hollywood to always play these box office movies. And not only that, but he also expressed his desire to play new roles, which is this whole movie. And at that screening, we also saw an emotional Rock, too. Why am I pitching a literal Rock crying? But he was moved to tears after receiving a 15-minute standing ovation for this film. And also this film, it came on Rotten Tomatoes at 100%. Banger. And not only that, but also people are saying that he could win an Oscar for it. And that would actually make him the first former WWE wrestler turned actor to do so. You know, we've got Dave Bautista. A lot of people say that he's the best actor. We got John Cena. Yeah, but let me know your thoughts on the new slender emotional pebble. But I'm very much looking forward to watching that movie. Maybe I'll come out of retirement to review it. No promises. But I think that's a wrap. Let's stop the yapping and let's get wrapping up. Hope you guys are having a good week so far. It is Wednesday. We're in the thick of it. We'll see you on Friday, the end of the week. Have a good one. See you then. Woo!